Okay, I'm going to try this one again. First place you want to go to get the NetVST plugins is netvst.org/wiki. Go to the page that talks about downloading and using NetVST. And the download links, you want to get the 32-bit programs and the 64-bit programs. I'm going to demonstrate a 32-bit VST free one called Arminator, which comes from getdone.net/crackly with a K. It's the bunch of wonderful plugins created by Ian Webster. And where's the mouse? So you want to find, scroll down to Arminator. There's what the thing looks like. Down below there's a download link. Just download that one. When we go look at all that in our downloads folder, we'll open them all. Hang on, let's see what I'm doing here. Arminator, and this could be any VST of your choice, but just showing that this one opens to a folder that contains the Arminator DLL and then some associated files. This one can pretty much live anywhere. You'll see how it's used in a moment. Going back, NetVST Win32 looks, and the 64, they both look the same, but these are the 32-bit versions, and then 64 is the 64-bit versions. In this case, I want to use a 64-bit DAW, so I'm going to use the 64-bit plugins, which are these two, NetFilter and NetSynth. NetSynth is used when you want to remote to a synthesizer plugin. NetFilter is used if you want to remote to some kind of an effect where you send and receive audio. These two are going to need to go wherever the DAW can find them. So I've already copied these over to where my DAW looks. Then in this case, I actually want to use the 32-bit version of the NetVST host, which I'll run it now. It comes up looking like this. Oh, it's already got Arminator loaded into it. I'll actually close it to show you the process. Apologies for my shaky hands here, folks. Okay, this guy here on the upper left is the new effect button or the new plugin button. Click that to open. Go find where your desired plugin is. Double click on it. Now you've loaded it. You first of all see this summary page. To see the full GUI, you want to go up here to this little knob button. That's the effect edit. And then it will open the full GUI for Arminator. I'll just resize that a little bit. Oh, like that. Okay. Okay, so now that is running. If you go up here to the devices menu, go down to network. I'm just going to leave these at their default settings of 127.0.0.1, which is the loopback interface. That's because I want to connect to this plugin, to this instance of Arminator, from a DAW running on the same machine. So we'll just leave that just the way it is. So now I'm going to run my DAW, which is Cubase. This is a 64-bit DAW, so there's no way that it could load that instance of Arminator because Arminator is 32-bit only, and Cubase only accepts 64-bit plugins. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create, just using their standard piano and vocal template. I don't actually have a microphone connected, so it'll complain about that. Doesn't matter, because I'm actually going to make this track go away anyway. So this guy right now, it comes up by default is running Halion Sonic. If I click on the name of the VST right here, I can see a little pop-up menu. I'm going to change to using the NetSynth plugin, which then is going to open this little dialog right here. Okay, so it has sliders actually where you can set the that same network address 127.0.0.1. Again, we're just going to use the default. Very important when you're setting these sliders, use the shift key. It's the other DAWs may be different, but they all have some kind of a keyboard modifier key. It's either shift or control or alt or something like that. Is what you can use when adjusting sliders to make very fine changes. So just changing, say, from 127 to 128, it's easier if you hold down the modifier key that kind of slows everything down. This guy at the top, all we do is we just make him to be some number higher than halfway, and we switch to, it says here, on. So once again, what's going on here is that this is a 32-bit only plugin running in a 32-bit version of NetVST host, but I'm accessing it and recording it inside Cubase through this 64-bit plugin. And I can record it. I already had something in there from before. We'll go ahead and delete that. Start recording again. Oh, it's an interesting thing there. Did you hear the little crackle? Because the Arminator's output is set very hot. But these little controls down the bottom here, I'll bring my mouse over. Where are you? Okay. Where you've got parameter index and parameter value. Those are actually ways that you can do automation to control certain things. So I want to control the output level. Okay, I'm back. It took a little bit of fussing around to put these windows where I wanted them, where you can see what's going on. But I'm going to move this parameter value, and you'll see the output level changing. I'll try to zoom in a bit. It's difficult to get them both in at the same time. You see it moving? See if I can bring it up and get them closer together. Change my parameter value, changes the output level. I find you have to bring your Arminator down to about 30% or so in order to get a nice recording. Yeah, the other thing I didn't demonstrate, of course, was the playback from Arminator. So I'll go ahead and do that. So here's an example of a slightly more sophisticated network setup. This is the screen of a PC. It's running NetVST host, and inside it we have two synths by TubeOhm. Basically, they're just going to both sound at the same time. And as you see here, I have it set to the Gigabit Ethernet adapter. It's kind of important to use Gigabit. And that address is 192.168. Sorry for my shaky hands. 142 in this particular case. I'll go back over to the other machine here. And here's the setup that we had basically before. 192.168.142. I've set those numbers in, and in fact I already have it on. So now if I play on this MIDI keyboard, I get sound showing up in Cubase. And if you look over there, let's see if I can zoom it in for you. You should be able to, it might be just too bright. You can see the notes going up and down, but can't really see it here. No matter. So latency is pretty good. You can hear this, the sound of the tooth synths layered. That tinkly sound is. That's the second synth coming in. It's just a different patch. So I can go ahead and record with this sound as well. Let's go in and hit record. And I'll play some notes. And stop, rewind, and play back. Let's move this guy out of the way so you can see what's going on. Playback, hit the playback button. No hands on the keyboard. So I'm using a 32-bit only synth running, actually two of them, running on a completely different PC on the same network as this one. And I'm able to access it within Cubase, which is a 64-bit only system, by using this little VST, which is called NetVST, and it's 64-bit. Well, there's both versions. By using this 64-bit NetVST inside Cubase, I can connect to another to an instance of NetVST host, which itself, it doesn't matter whether it's 32-bit or 64-bit. Whatever, you just run whichever one you need to run the plugins you want. When you're done, always turn off the network connection before shutting down.